Hello everyone and welcome to the pitskill.io Porsche Cup Series sponsored by SimQuips, and you join us here in Silverstone for the grand finale of our series as Reese Tattersall leads the way ahead of Sam McCarthy and Chris Wright. But with 3 drop rounds for the season, the top spot of the championship is wide open. And with Tattersall not present for tonight's race, a big opportunity here for McCarthy, Wright and Leffe to take the championship. But without further ado, let's rejoin the on-track action. You see who will take pole for tonight's race, as Sam McCarthy is the first to cross the line with a representative time a 204.7 as Steve Goosens in the Amazing Goose car crosses the line some 2 seconds behind, but it is Simon Eklund who briefly takes pole position, but followed by Johan Leffe with a 202.7. Quite the spread in times at the moment as the drivers just get used to the track and the conditions. Leffe currently 4th in the championship, but has been a dominant driver in many of the rounds, and with Tattersall not present, a real chance for this driver to take the championship. But in second place in the championship is our series sponsor, Chris "SimQuip" Wright. Just a couple of corners left to navigate before we see a time on the board for Wright. We get a chance to see how close this qualifying session may end up being. We've got yellow flags out for Sosinski as Wright crosses the line to go P3. Definitely putting up there in contention. Ford getting a good number of points and to hold on to his championship chances. As tonight we've got quite a few regulars on our grid, but also a few newcomers. As we've got Kevin Nordemir, the newcomers to the Porsche Cup in a Canucks Tea Cakes livery. As Lorenzon, one of our regulars, slots himself up into P6. Solid lap there from Lorenzon. Still plenty of time left in this session. As yellow flags out for Leffe. I think just out of fuel as he pulls over to the side of the start-finish straight. We have Jesse Flower joined in the proceedings for tonight. A driver who has been gracing the daily races at Pitskill. Definitely a rapid driver, and remains to be seen what they can do in these Porsche Cup cars. But so far, sitting squarely in the midfield in P10. Expect to see more out of this driver as they get used to the car and the conditions. Bernhard Bendel, our P5 in the championship. Currently P5 in qualifying as well. And so far, not seen too many drivers getting caught out by these Porsche Cup cars here at Silverstone. So, as we look to see who is on improving lap, Simon Eklund is just half a tenth off of Lorenzon. As they cross the line, goes up to P4, jumping ahead of Chris Wright, slotting right in between Wright and McCarthy. There's Andy Hudson, looking to improve on their time. Up into P3 now, as we've got yellow flags out for Sam McCarthy, who returns to the pit lane. So we'll see what Michael J is capable of. Currently sitting on a 2:07, so somewhere off the pace, but has found a substantial amount of time in this lap, gaining confidence with every corner. They come through Woodcut to cross the line, and it's P12 for Jay so far. But out in front, Johan Leffe showing the dominance that they've shown all throughout this series. Some 2.5 tenths already up on the rest of the field and improving considerably on this lap. It'll be interesting to see what time this puts them on once they cross the line. There's another fast driver out there improving. Jay Flower. Currently sitting 13th, but I don't think they're going to be down there for much longer, as this is looking like a much faster lap for Flower. Across the line with a 2:03.7 up into P5 for Flower. We'll see what can Leffe do as they come to cross the line. This is going to be a rapid lap. A 2:02.0. I mean, some people struggle to get faster than that in GT3 cars, so that is a real solid lap from Leffe. Steve Goosens coming through farm and approaching the end of the second sector, currently about half a second up on their previous best, looking to improve. A half second could easily see them jump up a couple of positions, be all important for tonight's race. As the start at Silverstone, especially in the mid-pack, can be a little sketchy, especially through Maggots and Beckett's. Oh, as Goosen's getting a little bit out of shape. And here, those rear tyres just getting a little bit away from them. And it doesn't look like it's actually going to be an improvement this time around for Goosens. Jump back to a driver just behind Goosens. On track, Jesse Flower improving again, and well, finding some considerable pace out there. Might even be a challenger for pole position at this rate. Lap after lap, finding so much time. 1.5 seconds found in that lap puts them just 1.5 tenths off of our current pole sitter. And the confidence to absolutely send it around these corners, tail out. And with just 1.5 minutes remaining in this session, this will be the final lap for anyone going on to their lap now. And Sam McCarthy, currently P3 in the championship, P5 in qualifying at the moment. Did spend a lot of this championship leading the way. Only in the past couple of rounds has dropped down the order to Chris Wright, and Reese Tattersall will be on the hunt to try and retake the lead of the championship in this finale. So they come across the line and stays P5 for now, but will have one more chance at a flying lap. As Kevin Nordemir approaches Luffield now, is on for a decent improvement here. This driver, new to the Porsche Cup cars, is I think using this qualifying session to just get used to how these cars drive. And is finding time lap after lap. And moves themselves up to P16. And almost seeming like he's sensing the threat from behind. Johan left going even faster now. I think we may be able to see a driver drop into the 2-minute ones here, which should be an exceptionally impressive time in these Porsche Cup cars. Just the Luffield Woodcut complex to navigate now for Leffe. As Flowers crosses the line, was unable to improve on that lap. Stays on a 202.2, but it's Leffe who we follow now. So they come to cross the line, and it's a 201.565. That will be our pole lap for tonight, I am certain. And a dominant display there. As Laurent Demore comes to cross the line, currently P18, looking to improve a little. I'm not sure it would be enough to jump them ahead of Steve Goosens. It is not. As Sam McCarthy rounds the final corner, playing it tight with the track limits. Will find a little bit of time, just enough to jump themselves ahead of Hudson. We'll be starting P4 in tonight's race. Though I may have spoken slightly too soon here, as the driver we are watching right now, Chris Wright, just a couple of corners left to navigate, needs to keep it tidy, but is on track here to jump themselves ahead of McCarthy, and this will be super important for tonight's race. The two championship rivals, with the absence of Tattersall, this is theirs to win, and Wright crosses the line, takes P4 off of McCarthy, and that will be our grid for tonight's race. So, and welcome back everyone, and we are just a few short moments from our drivers taking it away for their formation lap, ready for tonight's race. We have just enough time to go through our starting order. And on pole position, we have got Johan Leffe. Alongside him on the front row is Jesse Flowers. And we've got Busso GT alongside Chris Wright. And it is Sam McCarthy and Andy Hudson. Sosinski and Eklund round out our fourth row. And then Kroos and Bendel, followed by Lorenzon and Jay. And those are Mikulak and Perks. We've got Tranma and Nordemir, Goosens and Demore. Then on our back row we have got Katromaya and Nitro. So our drivers drive away for their formation lap. We will be underway very soon. As Leffe takes us around a slow lap of Silverstone. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. We have got the unknown quantity of flour starting in P2. Be interesting to see how our championship hopefuls, Leffe, Wright and McCarthy, handle this start, as it has been known for incidents to occur here at Silverstone. Very complex Maggots and Beckett section down into Chapel. Easy to get cars side by side through that as long as everyone is compliant and respectful of each other. And Jesse Flower just jumping ahead on the formation lap, maybe just trying to psych Leffe out there, showing his intention from the start. And long formation lap here at Silverstone. And a full racing speed, it's usually as we saw, about a 2-minute lap, and the much reduced speed of the formation lap does take a little while. And so these are the cars to keep an eye on. Our leader, Leffe. Chris Wright in the SimQuips liveried car. Currently P2 in the championship, behind the absent Reese Tattersall. P3 in the championship is McCarthy in that grey and blue liveried car. And P4 is our race leader. And P5 in the championship is Bernhard Bendel, currently starting down in P10 for tonight's race. As our drivers proceed down the Wellington Straight. Just a few corners to go until we get underway here at Silverstone. The drivers line up 2 by 2. Ready to start. We have a rolling start here. Down on the National Pit Straight. And we are racing in Silverstone as Jesse Flower gets a good start. He's going to try and go around the outside of Leffe. Leffe hangs in there, Flower out wide. There's McCarthy dropping back a little bit from right, and it is Busso GT looking up the inside as they come through the first sector cleanly at the moment. There's Sam McCarthy's dropped down. We've got yellow flags out for Tranmere. Down behind us, McCarthy drops way back down the order. It has been a poor start for McCarthy, and that won't do their championship any good. As we head through the second sector now, as Leffe leading the way from Flower, GT and Wright. Sam McCarthy now all the way down in P13 as there's contact at the Vale chicane. I think that was Perks and Mikolat caught up in that one. Sam McCarthy now down into P11. Johan Leffe continues to lead the way. And we'll have to take a defensive line into the loop. As they come down the Wellington Straight, Busso has a look up the inside, not close enough to make anything of it. They are close as you like, coming through Luffield. And down around Woodcup to complete the first lap of this race. And it is Johan Leffe leading Jesse Flowers and Busso GT. As Simon Eklund is making his way up past Lisinski. As the pack behind, exceptionally close now, not much to choose between them as they go racing through Maggots and Beckett's into Chapel. And it looks like it's Bernhard Bendel who's going to try the long drag down the Hanger Straight. Will he take a look up the inside into Stowe? No, Sosinski defends it well. Bendel going to have to try and make it the long way around the outside if he wants to make the position, but opts not to, slots back in behind. And it's now Lorenzon who's under pressure from Kroos. Kroos going to be on the outside for Vale. They now come through. Kenny Kroos keeping it pinned through the inside. He's now going to have the inside for Club Corner. They come through. Sam McCarthy is trying to battle his way back through behind these two. Now we'll have the inside line through Abbey. As Lorenzo runs very wide, this could give an opportunity to Kenny Kroos as Sam McCarthy continues to look up the inside, late on the brakes. Up into Village. He's going to try and take the wider line through the loop and get a better run out of Aintree as Kenny Kroos, a little too eager on the throttle, spins his car around, and we'll have to be careful with the rejoint. A very tricky part of the circuit to get back on. As back at the front, Jesse Flowers and Busso GT continuing to apply the pressure to Johan Leffe out in the lead. And we've got close battling over P13 as Goosens and Perks applying the pressure to Tranmere as Goosen gets his nose ahead. And actually getting fully ahead now, down on the run towards Copse, but it is Tranmere who's staying alongside him, carrying the speed around the outside, and it's a good run from Tranmere as Perks nestles in behind as well. He's going to try and have a run through Maggots and Beckett's and gets ahead of Goosens. This is Sodlin battling from the trio, giving each other plenty of space. And this battling is allowing the pack behind to close in as well. We have got Kroos, Mikulak, Nitro and Demore all looking to contend over this P13 battle. As at the front, Leffe and Flower have dropped Busso just a little now. We wind our way through Village into the loop. Jesse Flower just opting for the wider line. There's going to drop back a little from Leffe as he has to wait to get the throttle applied. Very easy to get over eager in these cars and just spin up the rears. As Kenny Kroos is back on the attack against Steve Goosens. Would have learnt from his mistake a few laps ago. Needs to just be careful on the throttles. I think we've got a car running very wide. Yep, that was Perks out onto the runoff. And it's Kenny Kroos trying to go around the outside of Perks. And Perks closes the door on it. The line astern heading into Abbey. Side by side through Abbey. Kenny Kroos keeping it close with Perks. And this has allowed Mikulak to bring himself into the picture as well. Oh, as there's contact between Mikulak and Kroos. Kroos spinning off into the gravel. And we'll look to rejoin. As Sam McCarthy tries to move himself forward after what will be a disappointing start for our championship contender. Looking up the inside of Lorenzon into Vale. Backs out of it. Knows that he's probably got more to lose than he has to gain from a dive. As we've got yellow flags out for Tramnut, who seems to be still pointing in the right direction, so maybe just a little bit of an off track there for Tramnut. As Sam McCarthy sticks to the back of Lorenzon as we head into the third sector. McCarthy looking like he's got the pace at the moment, just needs to find an opportunity to get by. Oh, as we got some close battling for P16 in this race, as Florent D'Amour looks up the inside of Nitro. It's going to be forced onto the outside line at Luffield. So you come through Woodcut both with a decent exit. I'm not sure if there's going to be an opportunity here for Florent D'Amour. They head through and onto their fifth lap of this race. It's Florent D'Amour looking up the inside at Cops. And his Kroos in the background, squirming around, trying to find a way through. And Kroos looking like he's got the confidence, got the pace at the moment. Just needs to find a way through. It's unfortunate to find himself where he does on the grid. There's a few incidents earlier on in the race has made him drop down the order. As looks like Florent D'Amour going to get around the outside of Nitro here. Nitro just having to back out of it, and I think this is going to allow Kenny Kroos through as well. And both drivers moving their way up the order. They can start to push ahead. As we have Dias Sosinski on the attack of Simon Eklund, deep onto the brakes with the power slide. Wow! Well controlled there from Sosinski. Does well to just keep the car together enough not to pitch himself into the drivers alongside him. Would have lost out quite considerably there, but could have been a lot worse there. And now having to deal with the exceptionally hot rear tyres. He needs to just calm himself down for a lap or two while those tyres bring themselves back down to a normal operating temperature. And Sam McCarthy continuing to attack Lorenzon. He's tucked right up behind now on the long run down the hanger straight. Will he have a look up the inside? He's close. He's looking like he's going for the move. Up the inside there, side by side. McCarthy staying well within the track limits there, giving Lorenzon plenty of room. And Lorenzon holding his line there on the inside of Vale. And now, as they come through Club, McCarthy considerably further back than he was. Just allowing himself to be compromised there on the entry to Vale. And has to slip back. And close up that gap all over again. There's Steve Goosens on the back of Tramner as we come through Abbey. Looking like Steve Goosens has got the confidence to carry the speed through these faster corners. Just needs to find an opportunity to get his car alongside, it looks like, as we've got yellow flags out for Nordemir, who's in the gravel. So what's happened there for Nordemir? Oh, just a little bit of an over-eager throttle application, it would appear. And finds himself spinning off into the gravel. There's George Perks. He's right up behind Tramner now, almost pushing him through the corner, it looked like that. Not sure if there was contact between the two drivers, but it certainly looked like it. As Perks looking up the inside. Would be a brave, if not foolish man to try and make the dive up the inside of Cops. Cops to stick in behind. As not sure what's happened to Kevin Nordebin, but now sometime off the back of this race. As Andy Hudson has made his way past Chris Wright, moving himself up into P4 of this race. Oh, in the end, it was actually just a nice move through Stowe. Gets alongside, right, and is going to outbrake him into Vale and gets it through quite nicely there around the outside at Vale. As the pair of them continue to battle, they are some 9 seconds behind our lead trio. As Busso on the offensive. He's caught himself right up behind Jesse Flower. And Jesse Flower just overstepping the limits of the track there, getting his rear left tyre out onto the dirt. And this is the opportunity that GT's been waiting for as he comes around the outside into Cops. Gets the car slowed down enough, and that is Busso GT up into P2. But still under pressure here from Flower, who's not giving up this battle. And I think these two will continue to battle on, but it remains to be seen. Can Busso begin to close that gap down to Leffe? That's behind Sam McCarthy continuing to attack Lorenzon, but it looks like a small mistake there from Lorenzon has now allowed Sam McCarthy through up into P8 in this race. He can now try and see if he can claw his way forward up to Art Bendel, who's now some 4 seconds up the road and is attacking Simon Eklund. As it seems our lead drivers have all split themselves up into pairs, other than Johan Leffe, who's some way ahead. Jesse Flower continuing to apply the pressure to Busso. This has caused them to, the pair of them, to lose half a second this lap to our race leader. So Johan Leffe will be cheering these two on to continue to attack each other. There's Jesse Flower opting to use much more of the track there than Busso. We did see that it catch him out just on the last lap, and that is what allowed Busso through the last time, but he makes it fast when he can keep it all together. And running just slightly wider track limits there, needs to be careful not to do that too often. They're coming out through Maggots and Beckett's. Jesse Flower keeping with Busso. They come down the hanger straight. Not quite close enough to really take full effect of the slipstream. Oh, as Busso runs slightly wide there, comes back towards the apex. It's Chris Wright looking up the inside of Andy Hudson. Will turn to the outside as they come up to Vale. As Chris Wright slots back in behind, barely avoiding contact with the back of his competitor. They come through Abbey. Chris Wright looking to the inside. Hudson leaving space just in case it's needed. This could give Chris Wright an opportunity to try the switchback. He almost goes for it, but instead opting to slip in behind. He's going to follow Hudson all the way down as we run down the long Wellington Straight into the braking zone for Brooklands. Oh, as Hudson goes for the switchback. We see that again. As Wright goes deep, Hudson with a beautiful switchback holds on to the position. And they continue to battle on to the next lap. As just ahead of them, Jesse Flower and Busso continue to battle. You can see off in the distance there, Leffe continuing to get further and further ahead as these two push each other to defend. As Busso goes for the inside defensive line, Jesse Flower is going to try and sweep around and carry the speed as they come down towards Vale. As Busso again defends the inside. Appears to be driving in his mirrors considerably here. Just allowing Leffe to extend that lead out in front. So they come through farm. Flower, as close as he has been, is going to have to look to the outside. They come through village into the loop, and Flower looks like he thinks about having a lunge up the inside, but thinks better of it. Opts to try and go for the sweep around the outside, carry the speed. So they come down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. Not quite close enough for Flower this time around. As George Perks has made his way past Goosens. So bold move through club. Holds the inside as Goosen gets a little bit out of sorts out on the curbing. And that is George Perks up into P12. As we've just seen an incident there for Busso. Oh, just a bit little too eager on the throttle coming out of Luffield. And that sees Busso GT out into the gravel and out of P2. And may even lose more positions here as Hudson and Wright have now caught on to the back of him. This could be a great opportunity here for Wright as they're going through Maggots side by side into Beckett's. So Chris Wright just opts to back out of it. Currently holds the advantage over McCarthy that he's looking for, and needs to try and catch his way up to Johan Leffe if he wants any chance of holding on to this championship. This now the battle for the final podium position, as it looks like Leffe and Flower reasonably comfortable in their relative P1 and 2 positions. So we've got yellow flags out for... Whoa! What the hell has happened here? As Goosens goes for the absolute send. Coming through Luffield, oh, but is slow out of the corner. Contact and into the wall goes Perks and up onto 2 wheels. That is quite the spectacular crash there. As Bernhard Bendel has now caught up to Simon Eklund. Just going to have a look up the inside. So we head into Cops. It's not quite close enough as Eklund gets out on the curb, unsettles the car ever so slightly. Managed to carry the speed. It's Eklund going wide as they head around Chapel. This is going to be a good opportunity for Bernhard Bendel as Eklund closes the door on the outside. Bendel looking to the outside on the run through Stowe. Going slightly wide of the apex. They head down towards Vale. On the braces, looking like Bendel with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more car control. But Eklund positioning his car well, managing to hold on to the position. As you can see, Sam McCarthy is catching up to this battle in the background. Bendel has a think about looking up the inside. Again, not really close enough to have a go. But we can see ahead, I think it's Chris Wright, who's got quite a good run. He's maybe just a little too far back from the 2 cars ahead. Trying to back off away from the rear of Hudson. They head down into Luffield. All 3 drivers being careful with their throttle application. None of them want to be caught out at this late stage in the race. It's Hudson who's beginning to apply more and more pressure to Busso. All 3 of these drivers would love to get that final podium position. As Hudson running wide, this could be the opportunity that Chris Wright has been waiting for. Will he try and carry the speed around the outside? He does. Deep on the brakes, leaves space on the apex. That is a masterful overtake there from Chris Wright. Getting the car slowed down just enough. And that's Chris Wright up now into P4 in this race. Next up the road is Busso GT. But Andy Hudson continuing to attack. He's not going to let go of this chance of getting a podium position in what is, I believe, his first of these Porsche Cup races. And what a race to join in this finale. Behind Bernhard Bendel. He's got the run now on Eklund. Looks exceptionally close. As he looks to the inside, is he going to go for the lunge? Does, deep on the brakes, gets it slowed down right on the apex. Nothing Eklund can do about that one. Supreme little bit of braking there by Bendel, and he's now up into P6. You can start to think about closing down that gap to Hudson ahead. And Chris Wright, it's looking like he's got the pace over Hudson at the moment, has managed to extend out that gap and has closed down Busso. And with where our leader is on the track, I expect we'll just have one more lap of this race after this one. So not long now for those drivers who are caught in battles to try and get their overtakes done. It's down in P13. Steve Goosens and Tranmere, being followed by Nordemir, who I believe is a lap down. I'm not quite sure when that happened for Nordemir, so I don't recall them going into the pit lane. So I wonder if they just somehow managed to bypass one of the timing lines in the circuit, which I think is easily done up around the village and the loop, and lost out on a lap. If that's what's happened to them, that is extremely unfortunate. But good to see they're continuing to battle away. As, oh, Nordemir, I think having another little bit of a spin there as they come through Luffield. Perhaps just not used to these Porsche Cup cars and the way that you have to apply the throttle also gently. Yeah, and as they come through Woodcut. Actually, no, sorry, that was out of club. That has freed up Steve Goosens, who runs wide and is not going to have the pace to challenge the more we check back in with our battle for P3. Just two more sectors for our championship sponsor, Chris Wright, to try and get onto that podium. And with the way he's running track limits, does look like he's giving it everything he's got to try and catch up to Busso GT, who's just 0.7 seconds ahead of him. As our timer hits 0. I'm just waiting for our leader to cover one more sector of this circuit. They are now on to the Wellington Straight, heading right down towards Brooklands to complete this final lap. We stick with our battle over P3 for now. As Johan Leffy rounds the final corner and slides his way out of Luffield and into Woodcut to take the checkered flag and the win, and possibly even the championship here at Silverstone. Congratulations to Johan Leffy. He will be followed home by Jesse Flower in his first drive in the pitskill.io Porsche Cup. And it's a good first showing, as across the line come Busso GT and Chris Wright for P3 and 4 respectively, followed by Andy Hudson in P5 and Bernhard Bendel in P6. Simon Eklund managing to keep close with Bendel, but in the end having to opt for P7, and Sam McCarthy some way off of Leffy and Wright. Unfortunately for him, will not be taking the championship here tonight, as he did finish behind Chris Wright. Marco Lorenzon in P9, with Michael J in P10. Behind him is Tadeusz Szynski in P11 with that early race incident costing him on a better race position. Like comes Steve Goosens ahead of Florent Damour and Luke Tramner. Close behind is Kenny Crows. The line in P16 comes and Nitro. And I apologise to anyone with young children watching for the foul language on the livery of Harold Katchermeyer. He comes across the start-finish line to finish this race in P16. Very much living up to his team name of Team Not Last. As Mikulak, the final of our runners on the lead lap, crosses the line in P17. Oh, thank you very much for watching, everyone. That was the finale of the pitskill.io Porsche Cup, sponsored by SimQuips, and the end of Season 17 of pitskill.io. We will return next week for the pre-season of pitskill.io, so please do head on over to their website. The link can be found in my description to this video below, where you will be able to sign up for their daily races, these Porsche Cup races, and various series and championships that they host. And if you hang around for just a few short moments, we will watch the highlights of tonight's race, and hopefully when we get back, we will be able to take you through the championship standings and see where everyone finished this 12 weeks of racing. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. As we watch the highlights, I can confirm that we have got the championship standings, and it is Johan Leffe who wins Season 17 of the ACC Porsche Cup Series, sponsored by SimQuips, followed closely behind by Reese Tattersall. So Leffe desperately needed to get the win in that final race, but as he did so, takes the championship. In third place was Chris Wright, followed by Sam McCarthy and Bernhard Bendel. Congratulations to our top three in the championship. Without further ado, I will leave you with the rest of the highlights of tonight's race. Have a very lovely evening. Good night.